This is Omnisport Africa. We are putting African sport first, live and on demand on your phone, data free on the MTN network in South Africa. T's and C's apply and online at omniaudio.africa. Because reading about it tomorrow won't help you today. Live and on demand. This is not the sports news. Available on omniaudio.africa and on YouTube at Omni Audio Africa.
It is not the sports news, a Friday edition. I'm sure we're all waiting for South African standard time. That's 1800 tomorrow, where Mamelodi Sundowns play their next game. So much has unfolded this week, and we take a look and recap exactly at those golden nuggets. I'm going to swing it back to the CAF Champions League final, because chatting to Vilakazi right here at Omni Audio Africa, he already then goes back in time as to how they should have played, and then fast forwards into the FIFA Club World Cup, and then, zooms in on how they should be playing. A win against Ulsan, 1-0. It was Ikram Rainers, and now he's saying going into the next game what it is that they should do. We are on all socials, so please go ahead and follow us. Facebook, it's Omni Audio. TikTok, Insta, YouTube, it's Omni Audio Africa. So listen here what Vilakazi says as to how Sundowns should have played that CAF final before we then deep dive and take a look at the FIFA Club World Cup and how Mamelodi Sundowns are doing.
You remember when Sundowns were going to play the CAF Champions League final, when I asked Coach Cardoso to put the Renas, Ribeiro, and Mshishi in the first lineup, that three up front, you still remember? Maybe you forgot, guys. You still remember? You saw what happened in the morning. Exactly what I've asked for. And then now I want to show you something again. When Mshishi is there, Ribeiro is there, where was Salis? Salis was nowhere in the picture. Because you know why? This is what I was always crying for, that Sundowns, they play using the pockets. And Mshishi and Ribeiro, they know how to use those pockets. Salis, yeah, he's got games where he will come to the party, but he's not a player that really you can say, I can put my man on him, that he can make things happen for the team. But you can put your man on Mshishi, you can put your man on Ribeiro. And they've shown in the morning. The football that Sundowns played in the morning, that was quality. That was Sundowns that I know. Personal. I don't know, you guys, you'll tell me if maybe I'm wrong. But wow, Sundowns have played in the morning. Wow. You remember when Sundowns were going to play the CAF Champions League final, when I asked Coach Cardoso to put the Renas, Ribeiro, and Mshishi in the first lineup, that three up front, you still remember? Maybe you forgot, guys. You still remember? You saw what happened in the morning. Exactly what I've asked for. And then now I want to show you something again. When Mshishi...
Yep, so there he is saying exactly how they should have played. But Vilakazi is still not a fan of the very man that is leading this team at a Club World Cup and doing well so far. And that is Coach Miguel Cardoso.
Whether he goes and win the Club World Cup, he must go. You know why? I want the truth. Guys, let's be honest. If we say, so, you didn't win the Champions League, that's why we have to release you. I take it. I go. I didn't win the Champions League. I must go. So, if now you call Cardoso, because you thought Cardoso would win the Champions League, he didn't win the Champions League. What must happen? My big brother, today I don't want to point the finger at you. I'm just going to talk. My big brother, you know yourself. You and your friend, you know. You and your friend who didn't win the Champions League. So whether you win the Club World Cup, but you must go. we won the Champions League. That's what the team was planning for, to win the Champions League and be the champions of Africa. So even if we win the Club World Cup, but personally, I want you to go. You know why? I want us football people, let's be honest and be truthful to the things that we do and the things that we say. He didn't win the Champions League. That's one thing that Sundowns employed him to do. He didn't do that. So he must go. Whether
There we go. So not a fan of Miguel Cardoso since he has arrived at the team. Basically also just weighing in on that, saying if Rulani had to go not winning the CAF Champions League, why is the same then not meted out for Coach Cardoso? But here he is at a Club World Cup. Borussia Dortmund happens to be the next opponents that they're up against. And he says, South Africans, let's be honest. We've got to also be honest about the type of opponents that Sundowns come up against. Like an Ulsan, for example, a South Korean team versus a well-versed team, Borussia Dortmund, at the end of the day, a German team, and the pedigree there. Not really talking down to any team or taking away from the credibility of either. But then again, just take a look. A little bit chalk and cheese, right? Yes, so saying why it is that Sundowns could possibly make it up against their next opponents in the FIFA Club World Cup.
One thing that I will tell you now, guys, is that this is football. This is football. We've seen top teams in the world going down. Top teams in the world. I remember a Champions League final when Chelsea played against Barcelona, where everyone was saying, Barcelona will be all over Chelsea. Transition play, Chelsea, goal. Transition play, Chelsea, goal. Finish, done. This is football. If Sundowns, look, I'm not saying they're going to win, but I'm saying, look, whatever happens in that game, for me, I'll take it. As long as they will play the way they played this morning. Whatever results for me, I don't. It's okay. It's okay, boys. You've shown that you, as South Africa, number one, you've made our league to be recognized now. To say the Betway champions, they've won against the other champions from another country, another continent. It says a lot. Look, it says, guys. I want you guys to hear me. Sundowns, you just made something else in this world. You just created another history. That it never happened. It never happened in South African football that one of our teams, they go there, play Club World Cup, they score and win. It never happened. It never happened. So what you did this morning, I'm very proud of you guys.
Well, can they or can't they? I know Sundowns getting themselves ready for their next opponents and wanting to go all the way. It's all about the money and the deep pockets also, because if it is that a Club World Cup is used for exposure leading up to a World Cup, again, I'm caught between like a rock and a hard place, because I guess man of the matches win an insane amount of money. And yes, yay, that's good. I'm not saying it isn't, but then again, it's about giving clubs exposure that perhaps we might never have heard of. But then again, it's countries that are pitted against each other. But then again, it's a scouting haven. And so I'm really divided as to how I feel about a Club World Cup. But again, in terms of the African teams participating, I'm looking at the African stories that will unfold from this. And I'm sure we'll pick up that again with Mthokozisi Dube of the Far Post. I love the thought leadership from Vilakazi. Because these are players who, from the outside now look in, but having had a world of experience based on the fact that they have been in similar positions before. And so they speak from a place of knowing. Another player that we have, his opinion here, very valid, is that of Letsholonyane. And he is saying just how the games went down. And then you've got to enter that pitch with some grit and tenacity and the will to want to win. Listen to what he says.
One of our team that is representing us as a country got to play, I think, the best 45 minutes for me. I think the intensity in the first half, the attitude of the players, it's for me. It reminded me of the Sundowns that is fresh, that is willing to sort of play their own style of play. Intensity, as I said, was the right intensity because they could move the ball easy, quicker. Ball rotation was precise. Passing was more precise than the previous before the TSTV Prem, the Betway Prem finished, and counter pressing, very very good. They showed the other team that they wanted it more. They were there to play and dictate terms. Second half, not as good as it was personally, and of course maybe because of the subs. When teams make subs, it becomes a bit of a challenge. It disrupts the rhythm of the team, mainly because the players that are going into the game, they find the intensity very high and they can't keep up at that time. But 3 points, 1 goal, it would have been more. Maybe if it was not VAR, it would have been 3 or 4 goals. But we or Sundowns can take the 3 points. They are sitting on top of their group now, and that is a confidence booster for the next game.
I think we're all believers now, aren't we? I didn't. In all honesty, I didn't even think this was going to go down the way it did. Maybe against an Ulsan, and I have my reservations about how far Sundowns can go, but that's just me again. Many people also buying in and saying, okay, if it is that they can do this, they can do a whole lot more. And Yeye believes that Sundowns have a chance to go through.
I'm hoping that they go as far as they can in the tournament. Like I said, the first game win. Currently, they are sitting on top of their group. They still have 2 tough games, Dortmund and Fluminense. Very difficult teams to play against. It's not going to be easy when they play those games. So I'm just hoping and wishing that they play the same or maybe improve on how they played last night when they play both games, and then they try to score as many goals as they can, because we've seen Dortmund was struggling, but Fluminense was the better team when they played Dortmund. So against Sundowns, the chance is there for them to qualify for the group stage. But it's up to them how they apply themselves, the opportunities that they get, because they'll definitely get those opportunities. How many of them do they put in, and how they close the back doors to prevent the teams to score against them.
I'm just thinking here that a Sundowns cannot be a Blue Bulls. You cannot go in there and just play. You've really got to know your opponent like the back of your hand in order to counter and do everything that you can in order to make it through in a Club World Cup. As I said, enjoyed the thought leadership there, Vilakazi as well as Yeye. And now it's about the big heavies, right? When the legends come in and they stand by their team, wishing them good luck. There's no way that it's almost like ancestry magic, right? That they come along and they sprinkle. Because here's Isaac Shai as well as Dan wishing Masandawana the best of luck.
Ukuza lapho siya Club World Cup manje.
Yes.
So nisibona kanjani ispirit sama players we Sundowns after losing final CAF?
Obviously, they must come back because they are the champions in South Africa and in Africa also, because to lose it, how you come back.
Yeah.
If Bakushela Pansy, how do you come back? So we wish them all the best, and they must know that we are behind them, and we support them through thick and thin, and it's not going to be easy. Remember, all the best team they are playing in Club World Cup, so it's not going to be easy, but they must not put themselves under the pressure. They must do the basic and do the right things, and all the best.
I mean, for me, I think the club is a qualifier because Sundowns is a big team.
Yeah, it is.
You understand? They have good players, and they can do well. They abayanga lapho kyo at number. They went there to compete. So yeah.
It was just unfortunate for the final. So
it's football. Yeah. Tanga a question ukuthi
a big month, Youth Month, that is June, and we have celebrated it here at Omni Audio Africa. We also have a dynamic team. I won't give away my age, but of young, dynamic professionals who are on this playground in the podcasting world. And I think that we've also celebrated it in a way which is unique, in that the COSAFA Cup ran in Youth Month. Four years ago, if you throw back, Coach Vela Kumalo, along with Coach Romy Titus, actually won the COSAFA Cup. This year's edition, they make it into the finals, and Angola being just way, way too strong. And I think it's a little bit of a dampener, because yes, they made it to a final and now they runners up. But then when an Amajita is doing as well as it's doing, when a Banyana are going to a WAFCON in order to defend their title in Morocco next week, actually, Monday, a very big day for the team. And when Bafana are winning the international friendlies the way that they have, I guess you take a look at it and you think it would have been the cherry on top. If the COSAFA team won and hoisted that trophy, it's something that I was hoping. Yeye is a part of that team. He is working with Coach Vela, and this is what he had to say about Bafana Light in the light of Youth Month and how well they fared.
It was a good competition that will give us as the country an idea of what do we have besides the Bafana that played Kopolokwane at that time and the Bafana that is playing for USA. On a serious note. So it was to create a big pool, obviously for the head coach, in terms of team selection with the World Cup qualifiers coming and AFCON later in the year. And choosing younger players that will still have more time in the system, that will still have gain more experience at the international level was very important. And I think COSAFA was one platform that gave us that opportunity to look at younger players. I think they did fairly well. Experienced, showed from Angola, it works. Showed up, and then unfortunately our young boys could not deal with standard situations at Angola, and we lost the game 3-0.
Top young players then also in the Youth Month, just talking about just the talent that will eventually come through the ranks and end up in a national team where Coach Hugo, well, he will be spoiled for choice, I hope, or his successor as the years go by and they start blooding the really, really great players of tomorrow. He talks about the top young SA players. And after that, you'll hear Tso come in, where he doesn't just talk about top young SA players. He goes as far as picking the top three. So let's start with Yeye.
Rele will be one of them. Shakil, Cape Town City. Nkota, Pirates will be one of the players. Kutlwano Sundowns, one of the players. And I will kitlamu Kenya kitlamu Kenya because I see a potential, right? The fifth one. And I feel Jorge, he still has a lot to do and give for football if he is serious about getting better, growing and being a top player. Mfundo will be the fifth player because I see the potential more, but he needs to be serious about himself getting better and improving. Really.
Top 3. Obvious mfethu yazi ezinye izinto azisafuna amarula. King of 2000, that's number 1. And then number 2 izoya ngayo uNkotha. And then number 3 izoya ngayo lo Mfundo Vilakazi. He's one player that I think he just need to be given a chance and the support that like these other players are doing very well. Abo Nkotha, abo Mfukeng, abo Maseko, abo Kodisang, abo Ditlaku. They're doing very well. They've got good support. They've got a good structure around them. So I wish that also Vilakazi can also get a very good structure and environment, environment that really we will bring the best out of him because he's got a good potential of Vilakazi, and I believe that with a good support. He's gonna come to that level yabo King ama 2000 nabo Nkotha nabo Maseko.
We change gears. We take a look at the transfer window. Percy Tau's in the country, and there's lots of talk about where exactly is he going. Mtokozisi Dube of the Far Post explains why it is that Percy Tau would be a great fit at Nature Arena.
I think the club where he would fit in well is Kaizer Chiefs, and the reason I say that is because you look at his position. I think Kaizer Chiefs are crying for a winger, a winger who scores goals, also creates goals. They're crying for experience. I think it's a team that has a lot of young players that are coming up, not too much experience. It's a team that's crying for quality, the kind of quality that Percy Tau. It's a team that's crying for leadership, the kind of leadership that Percy Tau would bring. When you look at the other two teams, let's say Pirates, you look at Sundowns. I think Sundowns, they have a lot of quality in his position. I don't think Sundowns really need him at this point. I think the club where he would fit in well is Kaizer Chiefs, and the reason I say that is because you look at his position. I think Kaizer Chiefs are crying for a winger, a winger.
A winger, he says. I'm still hesitant. Honestly, I have my reservations, and I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Where should Percy Tau go? If it is that you want to go as far as picking the top 3 young players, if you agree or disagree with Yeye and so on our socials, that is the place to get a good conversation going. We're also talking about transfer news from Pirates. What is happening there? Mto weighs in on that. And also, we don't know who takes over from Coach Riviero.
Look, the only news Pirates is that they're close to sealing a deal with Tsepang Muremi, Amazulu winger. He recently was in the Bafana squad, so we could in the next few days we could see him announced as an Orlando Pirates player. Mm-hmm. Still looking for that information that we all need from the coach. Still. Look, the only news Pirates is that they're close to sealing a deal with Tsepang Muremi, Amazulu winger. He recently was in the Bafana squad, so we could in the next few days we could see him announced as an Orlando Pirates player. Mm-hmm. Still looking for that information that we all need from the coach. Still.
From transfer news now to cricket, we're taking a look at the World Test champions who did come home. They're saying Shukri Conrad is the man who has the magic and is able to mold this team, and that way more is going to be expected from the Proteas now. But for me, it's about the parade. And why is there no parade? Zambia weighs in.
It's so significant in the context of the game where we were. Nobody's ever scored 280 at Lords to win on the fourth innings. But Aiden made sure that the team got over the line. Aiden stuck to his guns, knowing that he came off a pair, because remember he got a duck in the first innings, and then he's now standing on a pair, and he just played with the most, so positively and just in control. It was unbelievable. And the Australians couldn't put anything on him. And to me that ranks higher than Graham Smith's double centuries, higher than that 154 at Edgbaston, higher than the miracle 100 the miracle 100 that I think Faf got in Adelaide after batting for like 7 hours. Aiden's sits at the top and everyone else just has to take a step down. Look, when we left South Africa at the send off, Mackay and Tini told him, look, dude, if you get 10 wickets, we win this game. And we wanted him to get the 10th wicket, just didn't work out. But being on the honours board on the home and away says a lot. But that initial spell from Kagiso on day one kept us in the game, was really, really important. And it also is one of the top spells you'll see from a South African in events. And the reason why, Romy, is that this is like a one-off final, right? Obviously, we don't have the context in Test cricket of having something like this because this thing is new. It's a third cycle. But in a pressure situation in a one-off final, it happened. Makai's 10 will always be there and thereabouts because that was something special. And I think if Kagiso got his 10th, this would have ranked probably as the best. But because he didn't, it's probably number 2. But yeah, Kagiso bowled phenomenally well over the 4 days. He was just unplayable, and the Australians know it, and they hated it. Yeah. Look, the only tough thing is that we only see this team at home for the first time in Test whites next year in October. So that's the bad thing about it, because of the way the Future Tours program is set up. But it's up to CSA to try and find ways to get more Test matches this year at home, even if it is Zimbabwe, just to have a point of celebration, a moment where the guys where people around the country can come celebrate, take pictures with the Test mates, because we're not going to have a parade. But what better way than just having a Test match on with the boys playing and everyone just celebrating this, and it's just a celebration. It won't count to the World Test Championship, which is awesome, but you kind of need something. Even when the West Indies come next year in Jan, maybe that's the thing, because we're not getting any Test cricket in December. Yeah. That slot's been given to SA20, so we need to find ways, and we're playing away from home at the start of this cycle, right? We go to Pakistan, we go to India, and then we come back home. So
why no parade?
Because the team's going to Zimbabwe next week, and they need to go into camp on Friday, and so we can't do a parade around the country. But I hope, because I'm assuming some of the key members of the team won't be there in Zim, and you can send the Test mates around the country with them. I don't think Timber's hamstrings are gonna survive another onslaught in Bulawayo. So for this one you can let Timber not go, and have him go around the country to all the townships with the Test.
Still wishing for a bit of a parade and a celebration, right? Jam-packed week as we recap and take a look at all our just voices here on the show, and the contributors, and just the richness that they bring. We're in for another jam-packed week next week. So see you on Monday. Cheerio.
This is Omnisport Africa. We are putting African sport first. Live and on demand on your phone. Data free on the MTN network in South Africa. T's and C's apply. And online at omniaudio.africa. Because reading about it tomorrow won't help you today. Live and on demand. This is not the sports news. Available on omniaudio.africa and on YouTube at Omni Audio Africa.